In a few months, we will have a mayoral election in the most populated city in America, New York City. Eric Adams won the Democratic primary in a very long process. Curtis Sliwa won the Republican primary. With what we know about New York City, we can assume that Eric Adams will win the election in a landslide. This election was the first NYC primary to use ranked choice voting. You got to choose up to 5 candidates during the primaries who you wanted to vote for. Let's see what my ballot would be for this race. My first choice would be Andrew Yang. My second would be Catherine Garcia. Third, Eric Adams. Fourth, Raymond McGuire. And fifth, Paperboy Prince. Yes, I only picked Paperboy Prince because of their name. That's literally the only reason. The first candidate to announce his run for this office was Sean Donovan. He was the former director of U.S. Office of Management and Budget from 2014 to 2017, and he was the former Secretary of Housing and Urban Development from 2009 to 2014. He announced his campaign to run for this office on February 3, 2020. Even with his early start into the race, he couldn't find a way to ever lead in the polls. More on that later, though. The next candidate to announce his campaign was Scott Stringer. He is NYC's comptroller, and he announced his candidacy on September 8, 2020. Maya Wiley announced her candidacy a month later, and a few days after her, Raymond McGuire announced his candidacy. Eric Adams, the president of the Brooklyn Borough, announced his candidacy on November 17, 2020. 2 days later, Diane Morales announced her candidacy. Catherine Garcia announced her candidacy a month later, and then former presidential candidate Andrew Yang announced his candidacy a month after Garcia. The main candidates were set, but what did NYC originally think of these candidates? Those are the polls for the People's First Choice and Ranked Choice voting taken from November 30th to December 6th, 2020. As you can see, Andrew Yang took an early lead in the polls. His popularity from the 2020 presidential election kept him going in this one. This led to the first debate on February 1st, 2021. This debate was hosted by the Kings County Democratic Committee. Due to this, Diane Morales decided to boycott due to actions within the committee. In March, a new poll came out. As you can see, Andrew Yang was still a major front-runner that NYC citizens wanted to represent them. Eric Adams and Scott Stringer were behind Yang, and Wiley, Morales, McGuire, Garcia, and Donovan brought up the rear. Scott Stringer wouldn't stay in third place for much longer, however. On April 27, 2021, he was accused of sexual assault. Stringer denied the allegations and said that the relationship was consensual. Later, another woman accused him of sexual assault. Catherine Garcia and Sean Donovan called for Stringer to drop out because of the allegations. Sean Donovan and Raymond McGuire were also accused of being out of touch with New York City. What else did you think I was going to say, you silly little goose? They underestimated the median cost of a house in Brooklyn, and this made New York City citizens believe they were out of touch with New York City. Andrew Yang also found himself in a little bit of controversy. He said that Times Square was his favorite subway station. That made him sound like a tourist, someone who isn't fit to lead in New York City. Now this leads us to our next debate that took place on May 13th, 2021. This time, Diane Morales actually participated. Eric Adams was seen as the winner of this debate. A poll was taken from May 17th to 31st, and these were the results. As you can see, Scott Stringer had a dip due to his sexual assault allegations, and Andrew Yang also dipped. Eric Adams soared way above him though, and Catherine Garcia also saw a major increase in percentage. The next debate took place on June 2nd, 2021. This debate saw candidates attacking Adams and Yang. Candidates didn't attack Stringer on his sexual assault allegations either. An issue came up with Eric Adams. There were rumors that he didn't live in New York City. The rumors were that he lived in New Jersey. To prove that he did live in New York City, he invited reporters to where his supposed apartment was. This actually led to more reports wondering if that was his actual apartment. But this rumor ended up turning to nothing. The fourth debate took place on June 10th, 2021. Sean Donovan, Diane Morales, and Raymond McGuire weren't even invited to participate in the debate. Eric Adams originally didn't want to be in the debate, but then later decided he was going to participate. Everyone else participated in the debate. This is the final poll before the final debate, and this shows that Eric Adams was in the driver's seat to win this election. The fifth and final debate took place on June 16th, 2021. This debate had every candidate participating in it. A few days before Election Day, Andrew Yang and Catherine Garcia supported each other and started to campaign together. Yes, two opponents endorsed each other and started to campaign together. Now let's talk about some of the names who endorsed these candidates. Eric Adams was endorsed by Hakeem Jeffries from New York's 8th Congressional District, Danny Glover, an actor, Taj Gibson, a player for the New York Knicks, Dwight Gooden, Mets pitching legend, and David Patterson, the former governor of New York. Sean Donovan was endorsed by Senator John Hickenlooper, Manny Diaz, the former mayor of Miami, and Edward Norton, an actor. Catherine Garcia was endorsed by Lori Sutton and the New York Times. Raymond McGuire was endorsed by Gregory Meeks from New York's 5th Congressional District, Tiki Barber, Patrick Ewing, Samuel L. Jackson, Jay-Z, Spike Lee, Steve Martin, and Charles Oakley. Dianne Morales was endorsed by a few state legislatures. Scott Stringer was endorsed by Jerry Nadler from New York's 10th Congressional District and actress Scarlett Johansson. Maya Wiley was endorsed by Senator Elizabeth Warren, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez from New York's 14th Congressional District, Chris Evans, Alyssa Milano, and Rosie O'Donnell. Andrew Yang was endorsed by Grace Meng from New York's 6th Congressional District, Richie Torres from New York's 15th Congressional District, Amy Schumer, and Charlemagne the God. June 22nd was the day where citizens of New York City voted on who they wanted to be the Democrat nominee. The tensions were extremely high, and it looked like it would be a fight between Eric Adams and Andrew Yang to see who wins. The first round of results came out. Eric Adams was in first place with 30.7% of the vote. Maya Wiley got second place with 21.4% of the vote. Catherine Garcia was in third place with 19.6% of the vote. Andrew Yang got fourth place with 12.2% of the vote. Due to the fact that he got fourth place, he conceded on night one. Scott Stringer got fifth place with 5.5% of the vote. Dianne Morales got 2.8% of the vote. Raymond McGuire got 2.7% of the vote. And Sean Donovan got 2.5% of the vote. Aaron Fulton-Air, Art Chang, Paperboy Prince, Jocelyn Taylor, and Isaac Wright Jr. all got under 1 percentage point. Isaac Wright Jr. was eliminated after round 2. Fulton-Air, Chang, Paperboy Prince, and Jocelyn Taylor were all eliminated after round 3. After round 4, Sean Donovan was eliminated, and after round 5, McGuire, Morales, and Stringer were all eliminated. That's when the numbers started to change. In round 6, Eric Adams was in first with 34.6% of the vote. Maya Wiley was in second with 26.1%, Catherine Garcia was in third with 24.4%, and Andrew Yang held up the rear with 14.8%. That meant Yang was going to be eliminated. Round 7 saw Eric Adams get 40.5% of the vote. Catherine Garcia was in second with 30.5% of the vote, and Maya Wiley was in last place with 29.1% of the vote. That means she got eliminated. In the final round, it was down to Eric Adams and Catherine Garcia. Who was going to win the nomination? Eric Adams won, getting 50.4% of the vote, and Catherine Garcia got 49.6% of the vote. It was extremely close, and it was only decided by 7,197 votes. This was one of the most important elections of the year. It was very competitive and very fun to watch all the drama go down. In the end, we have our Democrat nominee as Eric Adams, who is more than likely to win on November 2nd. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, and thank you so much for watching.